this 108th live tech Q&A session, where you can ask me some tech related questions, and hopefully I'll be able to answer them. And to post your questions, you have to post it on Twitter and just use the hashtag that is askgeekyranjit. And if you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. And you can also follow me on Twitter at Geekyranjit. So I can see quite a few questions already. So let me actually start taking them up. And the first question that I got is a very controversial and sort of an interesting question. A lot of myths around it, that is regarding SAR, that is known as specific absorption rate. This is Mr. Shavin Bees Khan is asking, what is SAR on mobile? SAR is nothing but specific absorption rate. Most of these mobile phones have radios in that. For example, they have multiple radios, like Wi-Fi radio, Bluetooth radio, the cellular radio, and again multiple cellular radios also for multiple bands like 3G, 4G, 2G, etc. So all of these radios actually can have a little bit of radiation. And the radiation measurement is known as SAR value. For India, the maximum rating allowed for SAR rating is 1.6. In some of the EU countries, it's up to 2. But we are following technically a stricter standard that US is also following, that is 1.6. But the problem with the SAR rating, especially in India, is everybody's making a mockery out of it. For example, just in fact, this year also, I made a lot of fuss about K3 Note, that it has a very high SAR rating of 1.59. In fact, if you recall, even the iPhone 6 had a SAR rating of 1.59, which looks to be very high because the Indian limit is 1.6. And similarly, some of the Motorola phones also had a high SAR rating, 1.5 or something like that. Whereas some of the other vendors magically were quoting very low SAR ratings of 0.35, 0.345 or something. I won't get into too much detail because there is some confidential information, but I got access to that. And what is happening is some of the vendors, I won't name them specifically, but even the big vendors are just listing the SAR ratings for a particular radio. Technically speaking, they have to actually give the SAR rating when the mobile is using all the things simultaneously, like Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and even cellular data. So they have to list that total number and list it as 1.2, 1.3 or whatever. But some of the vendors, for example, famously Samsung phones, for example, the S6, even Note 5, they listed SAR ratings of 0.35 or 0.35 or something like that. Looks very low compared to other phones, but they were just listing it for the cellular radios. They were just omitting it for the simultaneous transmission, which is actually very important. So again, guys, it's typical in India. Everybody plays with the rules. So it's sad to see that they are making a mockery of the SAR rating. So if you see one vendor quoting a SAR rating of 1.5 or something, and the other vendor quoting a value of 0.3 or something, just do a little bit of more digging. For example, I just don't recall this, it was the Samsung Galaxy S6 or something. It was giving a SAR rating of 0.38 or something like that, around that, very low. In India, on the paper, they printed like that. But I did a little bit of digging. The actual SAR rating in US they can't fudge around because FCC will kill them. It was almost 1.4. So you have to be aware of the SAR rating. And India has a limit of 1.6. So technically speaking, any phone that has a SAR rating of 1.6 won't be allowed in India. But I've seen some of the cheaper Chinese brand even fudging that. So you have to be a little bit careful and just don't look at the SAR rating. If it is too low, just go bonkers. Yeah, man, it's great. Do a little bit of digging because many of the vendors, even some big vendors, are not giving out the entire results, which is important. Anyways, let's move to the next question. I was getting the SAR question a lot, so I just went a little bit in depth about that. Let's move to the next one. This is, one second, guys, I'll get my glasses on. This is by Ishan Saxena. He says the Samsung Galaxy S6 is now available for rupees 34,000. Should I wait? Should I buy it, or should I wait for the Samsung Galaxy S7? Ishan, yes, the Galaxy S6 is now available for a very attractive price for 34,000 or 35,000. And yes, it's a good phone at that price. I would say it's now sort of value for money. The S7 might launch early next year. Rumors are pointing to that as early as February. So you can wait, but again, even if it launches in February, I doubt that. It might be early March when it comes actually into the market. But do remember that again, guys, it's a Samsung device. It'll be overpriced when it launches. It'll be above 50,000 or something like that when it launches. So again, it depends upon your need. If you can wait and you have that budget, you can wait for the SN. But as of now, the S6 for 34,000 I feel is a very good deal. And don't expect the S7 to be priced at this 35,000, 36,000 when it launches. It's going to be around 50 plus or whatever. That's how typically Samsung works in India. Let's move to the next one. And this is by Sandeep Singh. He's asking Nexus 6 or the OnePlus 2. Both are selling for rupees 25,000. Technically speaking, the OnePlus 2 looks to be a better phone. It has a Snapdragon 810 chipset, whereas the Nexus 6 has a Snapdragon 805 chipset. But again, I would not recommend the OnePlus 2 because the end user experience is very average on the OnePlus 2. There are still some usability bugs, stuff like that. Also, it heats up a little, but camera is again, so even the Nexus 6 camera is not that great. In fact, I would lean over the Nexus 6, but one thing I don't like about the Nexus 6 is that it's just too big. For example, this is the Nexus 6P. I feel the Nexus 6P is also a big device, but the Nexus 6 is even bigger than this. It's gigantic, I would say. So I would suggest that if any of your friends or have a Nexus 6, hold it in your hand, use it for about 5 minutes. If you feel that you're comfortable with it, you can go with the Nexus 6 over the OnePlus 2. That's my frank opinion. Let's move to the next one. This is by, again, guys, if you guys post multiple questions, I won't take it because I want to give chance to everybody. So I'm going to restrict only one question per user. Okay, let's move. This is by Jay Surya. It's a very typical question. He's asking, what is the difference between the iPhone's 8 megapixel camera and Eureka's 13 megapixel camera? Still, the iPhone takes better pictures. And regarding Utopia, will you review it? No, I have no plans to review Utopia. Regarding the cameras, you're comparing Eureka's 13 megapixel camera with the iPhone 6, 8 megapixel camera. Definitely the iPhone does a lot better. It's not the megapixel. Megapixel is just a stupid number to fool you. The actual optics inside the camera, the lens, the software optimization, the actual hardware sensor and all those things are much important. And iPhone has a much better quality sensor in the phone compared to that Eureka, or in fact for most other 13 megapixel camera. So again, guys, just don't buy a smartphone looking at the specs of the camera. It's a very foolish thing to do because generally the higher megapixel count, we feel that the pictures will be much better, but that's not the case. For example, this Nexus 6P has a 12.3 megapixel camera, and this Note 5 has a 16 megapixel camera. But in indoor photography and in artificial light, this Nexus 6P takes much better picture. And I feel overall, the pictures that I take casually come out better with the Nexus 6P. So it's the sensor size, the pixel, how much light it can absorb. A lot of things go on regarding the camera, not just so that number. Just don't buy a camera just seeing the megapixel count. Anyways, let's move to the next question. This is by Sanjay. He says, do you think the Nexus 6P is one of the best Android phones this year? And do you plan to review the Q Terra? I have no plans to review that Q Terra because, guys, again, I'm very wary with these new brands. I don't know. There are like so many new brands that are just coming out in the market, and I don't even feel sure that they will be alive after a year or so. So I just don't want to review or test out products that won't be there for the long term. So as of now, I'm not going to review that device. But yes, the Nexus 6P, coming to the Nexus 6P, yes, it's one of the best Android phones that I have used till date. The experience is awesome, and it's been around 7 days since I have been using it. Let's move to the next question. This is by Bhavesh. He's asking Nexus 5X or the Moto X Pure from US or the Moto X Play from India. And he says also, does the Nexus 5X and the X Pure support Indian 4G band. He's talking about the US model. I'm not very sure if the US if you purchase it from the US, do they specifically support the 2300 megahertz 4G band in India? I'm sure it will support 1800 megahertz band because that is common, but I'm not sure if it will support 23 megahertz 4G band. You have to check that. And between the Nexus 5X and the Moto X Pure or Moto X style that is known in India, I will definitely go with the Moto X style or the Moto X Pure over the Nexus 5X because this is simply a better phone. But yeah, in battery life, the Nexus 5X goes ahead. But overall, I would say the this Moto X style feels a lot better phone. I would say the screen quality is way better. The in-hand feel, it feels like a premium phone, whereas the Nexus 5X felt like a very cheap phone. But in again, artificial lighting and low lighting, the Nexus 5X takes better pictures. So you decide. But for me personally, I would pick up the Moto X style or the Nexus 5X. Let's move to the next question. This is by Harsh Jain. He's asking, which is the best phone under rupees 30,000? My main priorities, he says, is performance and camera. I would say under 30,000, go with the Moto X style. The camera is good enough. It's not the best. The camera is good enough on this one, and overall performance is also nice with this, and it also runs on Android Marshmallow now. We are getting that update. You can check out my review for the Moto X style for the pros and cons. I have already posted it on my YouTube channel. Next, let's move. Wasam Sheikh is asking, can you do a review on how to root Samsung Galaxy A8? Sorry guys, I don't do rooting videos, so I won't be doing that. This is by Anish Shah. He says, I have a budget of rupees 40,000. He is confused. He says between the Moto X style versus the Nexus 6P and the Moto X Play versus the Nexus 5X. It's for me and for my dad. So, okay, he wants to buy two phones. First choice is between the Moto X style versus the Nexus 6P. I would say go with the Nexus 6P if you have the budget for it. Fabulous phone. Very good experience. One of the best Android phones that I've used till date. It's not perfect like any other phone, but overall, excellent phone. Between the Moto X Play versus the Nexus 5X, here the situation changes. I would say if it's primarily battery life, then the Moto X Play will go ahead. And I feel the screen quality is better on the Moto X Play. But the Nexus 5X is snappier, it is faster. The camera is better on the Nexus 5X. And also, if you like phones with a single hand, for example, where did my Nexus 5X go? Yeah, the Nexus 5X can easily fit in a single hand. So again, decide. Let's move. Let me refresh the questions, guys. Give me a second, just a second. Give me a second. And guys, you have to tag the questions with hash at the askgeekyranjit. If you don't tag it like that, I won't be able to see it. I'm just looking at the askgeekyranjit hashtag on Twitter. Okay, let's move. This is by Akash Dubey. He says, when will you give the camera review for the Lumia 950 XL in comparison with the Note 5, Nexus 6P, iPhone 6s cameras? Please declare a winner. Akshay, I don't have the Lumia 950 XL. I was in Delhi yesterday, so I just got access to the unit for about 20 minutes, about half an hour. Hence, there I made the video. And I'm trying to get the Lumia 950 XL. So hopefully in the next 10 odd days or by I should be able to get it. And only after I get it, then I can comment about the camera, because I took some snaps over there. The pictures were good, but in that area, the lighting was very good. And most of the smartphones do actually very good and good lighting. So yes, I will try to do compare it with the Nexus 6P. And I'm not sure if with the Note 5, but yeah, when I get the device, I will try to thoroughly test it out. So just stay tuned. This is by Srikar Reddy. He's asking, how is the battery of the Nexus 6P compared to the Note 5 and the iPhone 6s Plus? I haven't used the iPhone 6s Plus, so I simply cannot comment about the battery life on the iPhone 6s Plus. But if we compare the battery life of with the Note 5, I have both the devices. I have used both the Nexus 6P and the Note 5 as my primary phones. I would say the Nexus 6P slightly gets better battery life compared to the Note 5. With the Note 5, I could get a screen on time with my typical usage of around 4 hours. But with this Nexus 6P, I could get about 4.5 hours. So definitely, the battery life is better on the Nexus 6P. Even when I traveled to Delhi just yesterday, I left the house at 7 p.m. in the morning. So rest of the day, it was always on 3G and 4G data. And at 10 or 10:30 in the night, I still had about 24% battery life. So it lasts for the entire working day. So I'm happy with the battery life that I'm getting on the Nexus 6P. Let's move to the next question. This is by Biswan. He says, which one to buy, MacBook Air 11 inches, 128 or 256 gigabyte storage? Storage is your personal opinion. It depends upon how much storage do you require. So weigh down your, just evaluate how much storage do you require. I have a 128 gigabyte MacBook Air, and it works for me because I use an external storage whenever I need to dump videos and heavy files. So I just offload it to a portable hard drive. So it depends upon you. This is by Akash Vishwan. He's asking, can I get an output of 2 amps in the MacBook Air by using any software? No, you can't. You can't get a 2 amp output with the USB ports on the MacBook Air, as far as I know. This is by SK. He says, I'm using a Note 4 and I want to upgrade my phone. I'm confused between the S6 Edge Plus, he says, and the LG V10. Actually, I used the S6 Edge Plus for quite a bit, but I also tested I won't say I tested it. I had the LG V10 for a day. I used it. I would say the LG V10 is a very, very tall phone, and that second screen that we have on the LG V10 is on the top. And even if you see the video that I made about the LG V10, it is very difficult to reach the top of that second screen. So I couldn't actually practically use the second screen in my day-to-day usage with the LG V10. Whereas the S6 Edge Plus, yes, again, it's a gimmicky, guys. The second screen thing is always gimmicky. So it depends upon your personal preference. And I'm not very sure if LG will launch the LG V10 in India. But again, the second screen, if you are just going with the second screen, I don't see that as a practical advantage. But where the LG V10 has an advantage is that it has a micro SD card slot. The battery is user replaceable. It has an IR blaster also. That is missing on the S6 Edge Plus. So that way, it's a more complete phone compared to the S6 Edge Plus. This is by Sham LP. He's asking, which is the best music player for Android? It's difficult to answer because I haven't tested every music MP3 player that is available on the Play Store. There are tons and tons of them. I personally am using this known as the Power Amp. It's a music player, and it's a paid app. It's for 60 or 65 rupees, $1. And it works very well. The sound quality is very good. It offers a lot of customization. You can adjust the tone, that is bass and treble, and you can also enable equalizers and stuff. So I like that Power Amp. Arneet Singh is asking me about what are your views and expectations about the upcoming Xiaomi Mi 5 and the Snapdragon 820. Please share any info that you have. I don't have any info about it. Yes, we heard that only. I am also hearing rumors that it will be launching this month. But let's see what happens. And the problem with Xiaomi lately is that if they even launch it in China, they're not bringing those devices to India. So I doubt, yes, it will come early to India, even if it launches in China. But let's see how it performs with the new Snapdragon 820 chipset when it comes. This is by Ethan D'Souza. He's asking, iPhone 6s or the Samsung S6, which one is better compared to gaming and software? Ethan, it depends upon your ecosystem. If you like iOS, then you will prefer the iPhone. Obviously, if you like Android, then it's the Samsung S6 for you. So decide that first, what you want. the thing is, the games and apps that are on iOS run really, really well. And in fact, with gaming, the iPhone 6s perform brilliantly. So yes, with gaming, it will perform great, because it is the games are specifically optimized. Because with Apple, you don't have tons and tons of devices like an Android. The game developer has to target a very few devices. So the gaming experience is actually very good on the iPhone 6s. But again, it depends about, just look at the ecosystem, iOS versus Android. iOS is really great if you are in the Apple ecosystem. You are not, and you are happy with that. You don't like to customize a lot of stuff. But Android it offers us a lot of freedom. Third party launches, you can change the keyboard, you can do whatever you like. So it depends what you want. uh, This is by Psyche. He says, I have two gray Nexus 6P. Both have pinkish hue and yellow tint issue. Is it only for the gray variants? I don't have the gray version of the Nexus 6P. I purchased only one. I have no plans to purchase one more. This is the aluminum variant. The pinkish hue is not visible normally, I would say, if you see the screen. But if you go to almost 0% brightness, then you slightly get that pinkish hue. And that is sort of normal, and actually it's not that bad. The Nexus 6 was really bad with the pink hue. It was totally pink, but at almost zero brightness, you see that little bit of pinkish hue even with the Nexus 6P, and it's not that bad. And regarding the yellow tint, guys, it's not yellow, I would say a total yellow, but the screen temperature of this Nexus 6P is set to warm, unlike other phones where it is set to cold. So I would say it's not that bad. I would say it's not like, for example, Nexus 5X video that I made, the faulty Nexus 5X that I got, in which the whites were totally yellow. It's not like that on the Nexus 6P, but it's a slightly warm tint. The screen is like that. Anyways, let's move to the next one. This is by Naveen. He's asking, will you be reviewing the Lumia 950 and the 950 XL? I will be reviewing the 950 XL. I'm not sure about the regular 950. And what is optical image stabilization? Optical image stabilization is nothing but, for example, if you are taking pictures handheld, the thing is that you won't notice when you're hitting the screen or the shutter button, there are minor shakes in the camera. And if you have optical image stabilization, it's going to nullify that, so you get actually much stabler photographs. And optical image stabilization is really important, and it really helps, I would say, when you take pictures in low lighting or in artificial lighting, and also in videos. And the 950 and the 950 XL both have optical image stabilization, but I need to test how well they work. And in fact, Microsoft said that the OS that is used on the 950 and the 950 XL is the 5th generation OIS. Okay, let's move. This is by Vishal. He's asking, please recommend me a camera smartphone budget within 40,000, and when will the Mi Band 1S launch in India? I can't comment about Xiaomi products. God knows when they launch. And guys, Xiaomi doesn't share anything with me. They don't even invite me generally on anything, so not sure about it. At 40,000 rupees, my bet would be the Nexus 6P. The camera also is actually very good on the Nexus 6P. This is by VS Akhil. He says, why there's a lot of price difference on the same product in US and in India? For example, game consoles like PS, which cost just $400 US in US. That's due to the taxes in India. Gaming consoles, our Indian government is putting, I think, so entertainment tax and even luxury tax on that. Hence, the price is way higher. And there was some article, I don't even recall, but in India, I think so, we are paying about 10,000 rupees as taxes on these gaming consoles. Hence, the price is a lot higher compared to US. Let me just refresh, guys, 1 second. One second. Let me just scrolling. This is by Dennis. He's asking an interesting question. How do you manage the size of your primary SIM for different mobile phones? I have actually 3 SIM cards. my main primary SIM now is the nano SIM. Earlier it was the micro SIM, but now I'm noticing that almost every flagship phone is having the nano SIM. So it's the nano SIM, but the other SIM that I have is the micro SIM. So I keep juggling between them depending upon the devices. This is by Roshan Parmar. He says, which one would you prefer, the Galaxy S6 or the Moto X style? Camera and performance is the most priority. Definitely the camera is slightly better on the Galaxy S6 if we compare it with the Moto X style. But I feel the in-hand feel of the Moto X style is better. But again, the Moto X style is sort of a phablet device compared to the Galaxy S6. So it comes down to personal preference, I would say. The Galaxy S6 is a single-hand device, whereas this is sort of a phablet, which is a two-hand device. But I prefer the Moto X style over the Galaxy S6. It's just me. Let's move. Techie Anand, is the One Plus X a good buy now or wait for the price to fall? I would say the One Plus X, I have to just check. Before I went to Delhi, I checked. I didn't get the OT update. I will check if I got the OT update that fixes some of the bugs and the SD card, and I will test out this One Plus X. Overall, I would say the performance of the phone was fine, but it's a very slippery phone. And also, due to this glass back, like many of the Xperia phones, it tends to get warm very quickly, even with regular usage. So that is one thing that I have noticed. But again, stay tuned to my channel. I will try to post the full review for this One Plus X soon if I get the OTA update. Let's move to the next question. This is by Neelab Srivastav. He says, do you think the Lenovo K3 Note is still a good buy under ₹1,000? If not, what alternatives? I would not recommend the K3 Note for 10,000 rupees because yes, you can get it if you're a casual user. It does fine, but in gaming it does not do that great. And also the camera on the Lenovo K3 Note is not that great. In fact, I would recommend the Asus Zenfone 2 Laser, which is available for 10,000 rupees. I feel that is a much better handset compared to the Lenovo K3 Note. But again, watch my review for the Asus Zenfone 2 Laser for the pros and cons. This is by Techie Anant. Again, a very interesting question, hence I'll take it. He's asking, will Microsoft ever come back in the mobile space and are they relevant? It depends. We can't predict the future, but the problem with Microsoft Mobile is that the share that they have is really small right now. I think so. It's around 3% of the market that they have, and it's not increasing. So the problem is with the developers. Most of the developers are concentrating on iOS and Android apps, and this is just left over. Yes, these days, most of the popular apps, you will find it on even Windows Mobile. But if you're looking for some of the niche apps and small developers, they won't target Windows Phone. So that is the problem. For example, I have this smart bulb that I got recently, IOTA or something, that simply does not have an app for Windows Phone. So if you have some niche devices and stuff, you won't have apps for Windows Phone. That is the problem with that. And let's see how it goes. But as of now, the biggest problem is the app stuff. The common apps are there. The most frequent popular apps are there. But if you go into the niche apps, then there is a lacking. There, iOS and Android have a huge edge. I like the Lumia 950, and I really like the Continuum feature with that small box. You can just plug in your phone and whatever display is connected, it becomes your computer, and it works actually very well. I actually tried to make some Excel sheets, and even played with Word. Cut and paste works like Control-C, Control-V. You can do multitasking is there. You can switch between the apps. So it was like a proper PC experience, and it did not feel sluggish. So that way, I felt that they did something innovative. But it depends. It is tough. But let's see what happens. And now what has happened with Windows Phone is that with Windows 10, they have that universal apps. So let's say if a developer makes a universal app, it will run on the desktop, that is Windows PC, but it will also run on Windows Phone. So, but again, it will take time. Again, time will tell. Let's see after a year how is the situation. I would say it's too early to just judge. Let's move. This is by Asim Kumar. He says, your thoughts on the iPad Pro and the Microsoft Surface Pro. The iPad Pro is nothing but a bloated size iPad, I would say. But yeah, we have that Apple Pencil. So if you are an illustrator or something, you can use that. Whereas the Microsoft Surface Pro and the Surface Pro 4 will launch in India in January is a full-fledged computer with a tablet. It runs your Windows OS, and it runs the normal Windows apps. You can do proper multitasking, video editing and stuff, apps side by side, multiple apps. So it's a full-fledged computer. Whereas the iPad Pro is a powerful tablet, I would say. So if I would have to pick one, I would definitely go with the Microsoft Surface Pro 3 or 4. Let's move. This is by Ashok. He says, which is better, the Lenovo Vibe S1 or the Galaxy S5 or the Mi 4 or the OnePlus 2? Oh my God. I would say the Vibe S1 is not that powerful device. The Galaxy S5 will beat it any day. Even in the camera, the Galaxy S5 will beat it any day, I would say. The Vibe S1 is going for the style factor, I would say. Looking cool, as you can see, it's very sleek and stuff. But camera, definitely the Galaxy S5 will go. And even I feel the Mi 4 is a better device. But the problem with the Mi 4 is it does not have 4G or dual SIM. So if dual SIM and 4G is not important for you, I would say go with the Mi 4. It offers a very good value as of now. Let's move to the next one. Varun is asking, he says, I have the Nexus 6P, which is an average temperature of 40 degrees Celsius during browsing and watching videos. Is it normal in flagship mobiles? Varun, first question, how are you checking the temperature? Do you have an IR gun or something that checks the surface temperature? If not, if you're using some of the apps that gives you the internal temperature, then don't worry. Yes, many of the phones, the internal temperature will be a lot higher. But with the IR gun, I'm using this Nexus 6P, it does not get that hot. For example, in casual browsing or whatever, 40 degrees Celsius. It's actually much cooler than most of the other flagship phones that I use. So just don't go paranoid by installing a, temperature monitoring app that gives you temperatures. Those are giving you the internal temperatures, and the internal temperatures will be way higher than what you actually feel on the surface. And most of the temperatures that I quote in my gaming and what is the actual surface temperature, what your skin feels. So don't worry. I didn't notice any heating or anything with this Nexus 6P. I've been using it for a week now as my primary phone. I used it with GPS also and stuff. No issues. Let's move to the next, question. This is by Sarang Mahatme. He says, why have you stopped reviewing Android Wear? Are you planning to review them in the future? No, I have no plans of reviewing Android Wear. This is my Moto 360, I would say. The problem with Android Wear devices is that battery life is pathetic. It's just for show. I can't even use this damn device if I'm traveling for one day because it actually stupid thing dies and you have to carry that stupid charger. So as of now, most of the Android Wears and smartphones in general are just nothing but glorified rubbish because the battery life is, you can just get hardly a day. So if you're traveling and stuff, you simply cannot use them. You have to charge it every day at night. So unless the battery life situation improves and it becomes practical, I'm not interested in reviewing Android watches or smartwatches. Let's move. This is by Siddharth. He's asking Moto X Play versus OnePlus 2 versus the Honor 7. Camera and gaming is the priority. I would say go with the Honor 7. That is the best bet between all those phones. So guys, it's been over now 30 minutes. So I will be ending this live Q&A session. And do guys remember that we do this live tech Q&A sessions every Tuesdays at 7 p.m. on my channel. And if you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. Lots of reviews coming out very soon. So again, just thanks for watching and I hope to see you again next week. Thank you guys. See you later.